I join my colleague here, our Chief of Staff, who is also our National Mobilizer and SG, as well as party spokesperson, members of the executive who are here. All the faces you see here are well known to you. Members of the press, you are most welcome. I'll start with the issue of the late Professor Kanyeihamba. We joined the nation and the international community in mourning one of the luminaries of constitutional law and the governance in this country. You know, in the legal profession, we have people who have exceedingly surpassed the test of an ordinary lawyer or justice or judge, and in the league of their own. Those ones are called jurists. Kanyeihamba has been one of the renowned jurists beyond the borders of Uganda. And we do celebrate him. And amongst the jurists, there are also sages, S-A-G-E-S, sages of the law. He's been a sage, a colossus, one of those eminent persons who exude nothing but that reverence, those reverends. He's been a reverend person you can revere, respect, right from the time he served in government as Attorney General up to the current moment, to the present moment. He has died at the battlefront as a vanguard of rule of land constitutionalism. Even in his last days, Kanyeihamba did not give up. He's been, you've noticed, several times being wheeled to courts of law. I think the last case he filed was against Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. It was about amending the constitution to remove all the provisions relating to bail. Invited me as one of the lawyers to be in that case. And the professional aspect, I had crept into our discussion because I felt like, it was not proper for us, legally speaking, to drag a sitting president to court, because that is the position of the law. I told him, in as much as I'd wish us to, take that directive, that position, rather direction, sorry, to take that direction, that position of dragging Yoweri Kaguta Museveni as a person to court, to not be proper in the law. He charged at me and said, "You man, why are you people fearing Museveni? Why don't you want us to file a case against Yoweri Kaguta Museveni? Because it's not the government of Uganda which is amending the constitution, it is Museveni. He has not been advised by the Attorney General to abrogate the constitution and vulgarize it, to remove or expand all the provisions relating to bail. It is Museveni as a person." And said the parliament has not even passed a law. So it is Museveni who is abrogating the constitution. We drag him to court. Indeed, he stood by his position and took Museveni to court, to the constitutional court. And he argued out the case from a wheelchair. That is Kanyeihamba for you. In a special way at Katonga here, we shall always remember his position, his firm stance in the 2006 case. That is Dr. Chiza Besigye versus Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, election petition number 1 of 2006, which was argued out in the Supreme Court. I was still a very young man at that time. I was one of the lawyers in that case. Supreme Court election petition number 1 of 2006. Dr. Chiza Besigye versus Yoweri Kaguta Museveni and the Electoral Commission. Kanyeihamba was very, very instrumental. Very instrumental. Very assertive. And he took a decision which was unprecedented at that time to annul Museveni's election and direct there should be a fresh election. Never mind the history they had shared, the journey they had traveled together with Museveni. He took a firm position and said, no way. Museveni rigged elections and elections must be nullified. That wouldn't be the issue because he was not alone. It was a 4-3 judgment. There were 4 in favor of upholding the election and 3 who dissented, who were against the majority decision. The 4 were Odoki, Mulenga, Katurebe, and Karokola. The 3, Kanyeihamba, Sekoko, and Justice Odell. Those were the 3 who dissented. But what makes Kanyeihamba a unique character who stands out amongst the many is his maverick character as a judge. You know what he did in that case? He told the behind-the-scene events that led to the reversal of the earlier decision, which was in favor of annulling the elections. He told the story, the untold story. He told it. He said, upon conclusion of the hearing of the case, judges normally go into what they call a judges' conference to decide which position they are taking. He tells us, and this is well documented, go and read The Blessings and Joy of Being Who You Are, written by Justice Kanyeihamba. And on several occasions he has told this story. Said the first judges' conference that was convened, there were 4 justices against 3 in favor of annulling Museveni's election. We had won the case. Then what Odoki did, because he was the Chief Justice presiding over the proceedings, he requested the justices, go and sleep over it. Then we return tomorrow. They come back the following day. He asks again. Let me repeat this, let me revise this for some inaccuracies which I had given. Amongst the 4 who were for annulling the election, Kanyeihamba was not there. Amongst the first 4 who were for annulling the election, Kanyeihamba was not there. He was among the 3 who were against, who were for upholding the election of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. I hope we are together now. The first judges' conference, there were 4 justices who said the election should be annulled. There were 3 who dissented and said it should not be annulled. Kanyeihamba was amongst the 3 who were for the side of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, saying, I'm not convinced that there is cogent evidence to have the election annulled. Then the following day comes, he says, you people, Justice Odoki asks them, can you probably reflect on this? Maybe you might have changed your mind. They sit in a judges' conference the following day. Still the status quo remained. 3 annulling, no, 4 annulling, 3 saying no. Odoki was puzzled. Odoki was still puzzled. He said, let's give it more time. Let's give it more time and see if there could be some of you changing your mind again. Then late in the night, Kanyeihamba tells us in that book, The Blessings. Justice Mulenga calls him late in the night. Justice Mulenga was amongst those who were annulling the election. Justice Mulenga was amongst the 4 who were for annulling the election. He calls him late in the night and asks him, my brother George, I hope you have convinced yourself thoroughly about the position you have taken. But I wish you could read this evidence, this. He instructed him, he directed him. Read this kind of evidence, read this affidavit, address your mind to this, blah, 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 blah. Then Kanyeihamba tells us he spent a sleepless night reading through the evidence which had been introduced to him by Justice Mulenga. The following morning, he calls Mulenga and says, thank you, my brother. I am now convinced this election must be annulled. Now, they became 5 against 2. And it was an uphill task for now Odoki to take a decision to change the status quo. To cut the long story short, what happens? The machinations were done, the maneuvers, the cajoling, the intimidation, the what. And I think the last spanner in the wheel, according to Kanyeihamba, then Odoki calls a conference and tells all the judges that yes, he respects the decision they had taken, but he had talked to the president and the army. They said they will not accept that decision. So are you ready for the consequences? That's what Odoki asked. Are you ready for the consequences? You deliver the decision, the rest is your business. Then the 3, one of them dropped the position he had taken. Now it goes back to 4 against 3. One of them again returned to the other side. So the final position now comes, the final straw came late in the night, again, when they were going to take a decision. That's when Mulenga calls Kanyeihamba. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Mulenga has since passed on. He calls Kanyeihamba and said, my brother, I'm sorry I took you down in the valley and I abandoned you there. That marked the end of the story. So Mulenga threw the dice. It became 3 dissenting, 4 upholding the election. And that's how we lost it. But the story we are telling you about Kanyeihamba, the kind of stance he took, the kind of position he took, the assertiveness. You know, he writes in defense of the abrasive character, the way he told off Odoki that, please, I will not be bulldozed. And the fact that he followed his conscience. Initially, he hadn't been convinced, but he wasn't just influenced by his colleague, but he took a cautious decision after reading the evidence and taking the appropriate decision. That is the man we celebrate. Very illustrious character he has lived, and we shall always remember him for that. At Katonga, we do celebrate him for that bold decision he taken and the illustrious career he has lived all through his life up to the last minute as we speak today. May his soul rest in eternal peace. So I've tried to explain it, but please go and read that book, The Blessings and Joy of Being Who You Are. You will get the full story, how Kanyeihamba explains it. And nobody has come out to rebut it or in any way to challenge it, that to assert that it's not authentic. So kindly, please, read it for your own benefit.